Not ready yet.
For us, he's ready. For us, he's ready. What's ready for us?
Sorry. How are you?
So, from Yaakov. So I just started listening to the Icky sent this year from the Rav Felder from Lakewood. So
From which year?
Rav Felder about the lace shekels Icky sent out. So I just listened to before the daf just now for 3 minutes. I can't believe that a Rav sends out his share like.
Can't believe what?
That he sends out his share like that. They about talking about this stuff. And the second of all, the problem is that a shechted looks like the lady's not wearing the shechted.
We can't hear you, Myron.
Oh, you can't hear me? Okay.
I can hear him. I hear him.
We can hear. It's other people that have too much noise going on. It's not Aaron.
The problem is that the shechted doesn't look like that she's wearing a shechted. What about the problem? I'm nothing personal to any of my friends here, because my wife wears a shechted, my daughters wear shechted, my daughter was. What about a shechted that makes a lady look like she's Farrah Fawcett, or she should be in a porn movie in Denmark? That's fine. Those shekels are fine.
Right, 100%. That is the issue. Yes.
I mean, what does that have to do with lace front?
Rivara, what's up is Denmark.
I picked Denmark because
Aaron, you was fair.
I just wanted to see who got a rise out of that. Now parents all of a sudden woke up.
By the way, it's Yaakov, Rabbi, what's his name also gave a share on it. He gives the daf very fast. What's his name?
Everybody.
Mr. All
Lieber. No, Lieberstein,
Leibowitz. Yes.
He seemed to be very pro it.
Yeah. There was a Asifa last night with Rabbi Yoma Cohen, Rabbi Feivel's son. Thousands of people in BMG last night. Thousands.
Do you know what he said?
There's really nothing else going on in the world that they can talk about?
No.
I just got the record. Icky just sent me the recording of it.
What about all the starving pygmies? No one has an asifa for them.
So that's how much? That's 180. Right? 160.
What about Lieberman Ben and Lapid and making a government in Eretz Yisrael? It's a bigger problem.
160. That's okay. Yeah, that's whatever. I can't. I've been dealing with this stuff. I'm telling you, it can drive you batty. It could drive you batty. I'm sorry, Baron. I don't know. There's no answer to what you're saying. You're 100% right. I want you to do.
Gago, if you rip your hair out, can you wear a shechted?
Oh, somebody else just sent me Rabbi Yoma Cohen's. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, all right. A mazel tov to Harold. Harold's on there.
Yes,
Harold.
Mazel tov.
Yeah. Okay. So where we leave off? Where did we leave off? Oh, part of the way down, right? Samach Aleph Amud Aleph. Right, Toner Rabbanim. Yeah, it's about 1, 2, 3, 6 lines up from the bottom. Yeah, you see it?
Yeah.
6 lines up from the bottom?
Before
from the wide lines.
Okay.
Wide lines. Yeah, you got it? Toner Rabbanim B'chila Mechaber, right? That's where we left off.
Yeah.
You went further, I think.
No.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll start from there. So Toner Rabbanim. So this is just a repeat, basically, of the Mishnah. Yeah, meaning what happens if the blood spilled of the seir, right, or the par of the seir, it spilled before he had the time to finish the sprinkling. So basically, what the Gemara is going to say is that there's 3 different times of sprinkling. There's the sprinkling in the Kodesh Kodashim, there's the sprinkling on the Parayches, and then there's the sprinkling onto the Mizbeach. So each one of those are going to be considered a separate entity. So if it's spilled, well, at least according to one shita, if it's spilled after one, what would be the segment, let's say, then you don't have to go back to all the way to the beginning. You just go back to the previous segment, right? Okay, so let's see how it says. So Toner Rabbanim, B'chila mechaper es hakodesh, And when he's finished doing the kapara and the kodesh, that's referring to the kodesh kedashim. Oyel moed zehechel. Oyel moed. This is referring to the hechel. Mizbeach kimashmoy. Mizbeach is it's the mizbeach. Melamed shekulam kapara b'fnei atzman. Each one of those things, the kodesh kedashim, oyel moed, and mizbeach are separate kaparas. So there we say, if he already put some of the sprinklings bifnim and then the blood spilled, so then yevi dam acher, he has to bring other blood, and then you have to start back from the beginning of the matana shebifnim. Meaning, let's say he's in the kodesh kedashim, he sprinkles, right, so he has to sprinkle 8 times. He sprinkles 4 times, and then by mistake he knocks over the blood. Say he's got to go out, shecht a new par or seir, whichever one happens to, and then start again, right? Because he has to do that. He never finished that process. No, he can take over where he started from. That's in the Mishnah. So that's the first stage. But let's say he finished all the matana shebifnim, and then the blood spilled. He brings new blood. Yaschel betchila b'matana shebehechel, and he starts at the beginning of the matanas in the hechel. Nasan mixes matana shebehechel v'nishva adam. But if when he's sprinkling in the hechel, meaning onto paroiches, then he did some sprinkling and then it spilled. Same exact gemara, just the next stage, right? By sprinkling the hechel, then yavi damacher v'yaschel betchila behechel. Then he has to bring new blood and start again in the hechel. Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon, Aimrim, Eina maschel el mimakom shepasak. Same disagreement. Right, just as the next step on the hechel, that you start off where you left off. Gomer matana shebehechel v'nishra adam. He finishes the matanas in the hechel and then the blood spilled. Yavi dam acher. He has to bring new blood, which means again he has to shech the animal to get the new blood. V'yaschel betchila b'matanas hamizbeach, and then he starts with putting on the sprinklings onto the mizbeach. Nasan miktzas matanas shebezbeach, and he puts some of them onto the mizbeach and nishbach adam, and then the blood spilled. So Yavi Damacher, he has to bring other blood. The Yasko Betchila Matanas Mizbeach. And he starts Betchila with Matanas Mizbeach. Rabbi Shimon, no, you don't have to start again. You start Mimakum Shepasak Hu Maska, from wherever you stop, that's where you start. Yeah, Gomer Matanas Mizbeach V'Nishbach Adam. Right? If he finished putting on the Matanas Mizbeach and then the blood spilled, then Divrei Hakol Laima Akfi. Then once the blood spilled, after all the matanas were done in the kodesh kedashim, the hechel and the mizbeach, then you're good to go. Even if the blood spills, but you're missing. The blood is supposed to be spilled on the base of the mizbeach, right? So this shita is saying, this version of the Mishnah is saying that that's not meakev. Even though if the Olam remembers yesterday, we with the Gemara seem to have gone with the opinion that it is meakev. You have to pour the blood onto the mizbeach. This Gemara is disagreeing with yesterday's Gemara. Fine. Some Rabbi Yochanan. What's the pshat in the Machlokes? They both darshan the same pasuk. Right? It says midam chatos hakipurim achas b'shana. Right? From the dam chatos of kapara once a year. So Rameir savar chatos achas amarti loch v'lo shtei chatos. Rameir holds you have to do one chatos, meaning one kapara and not 2. So once it spills, right? Let's say you start sprinkling and then it spills. So you have to go get a new par. That means if you start again from where, not start again, if you take over from where you left off, then that's 2 different bloods from 2 different animals. And the pasuk says, achas. So therefore, you have to start again. Like this, all the sprinklings are coming from one animal. Again, Rameir's shita is that it says chatas achas, the blood has to come from one animal. So if he sprinkles some of the blood, and then it spills, and he goes back and shechts a new animal and takes new blood, then that means there's blood from 2 different animals being sprinkled, either on the kodesh kedashim, the hechel and mizbeach. So he says that's not, you have to have the same animal. So therefore, what he does is he starts back from the beginning again, and it's only from one animal.
But you can't really get 2 kaparas. You can only get 1 kapara.
Exactly, but right. So you have to do
even if you use 2 animals, you're not getting 2 kaparas.
You're right. You're right. You're right. But he's saying that the kapara, he's learning it that's going on the animal. That's what he's saying. It's got to come. The kapara has to come from one animal, not 2. right? Or you're gonna say, what do you mean the first sprinklings? Does he have to go clean the first dam? I wonder, Taka, right? Because the first dam is there. What are you are erasing it? You're putting it on top of it?
Well, I mean, technically, would that be a chatzitza?
I wonder, Taka. I wonder. I don't know. It's a good question. I think they don't care, but bottom line is he didn't finish it, so he gets to start over.
It doesn't have to
Excuse
hit.
me, you don't see, it's not a chatzitza because the Tahanas saw him in Rome, the parochis were covered with dam. So it wasn't a chatzitza from one year to the other. Why not? If you're saying it's a chatzitza.
Yeah. I don't know. No, I'm saying, but the Maisa, there's two different animals' blood on the parochis, right? There's two different animals' blood on the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So it must be that we're looking that we erase it, I guess. Right? Okay, whatever it is, but that's from Meir Shita, that it needs to be from one animal, so therefore you have to start again if it's spilled. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon Savri, chitoy achas amarti lach v'loy shnei chitoyin. Right? You only do one sprinkling and not two sprinklings, right? So they say the other way. They're saying that the sprinkling, maybe David, this is you would understand this one more based on your kasha. They're saying the opposite. You can't sprinkle twice, right? If you start again, that means you sprinkle twice, right? You have to take over from where you left off, because otherwise you have two different sprinklings, which is no good, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's the Machlokes. Tanya Amar Rebbe. Yeah, Tanya Amar Rebbe. Li Chalak Rabbi Yaakov belugin. Rabbi Yaakov was mechalik to me with lugin. Lugin is the oil that they used for the metzora, right? He said that there's a difference between if the oil that they put onto the metzora spilled. It's different if that spilled. It's different than if the blood on Yom Kippur spilled, right? Meaning that they're saying that Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shimon only disagree with Rabbi Meir by Yom Kippur, but they don't agree with him. They don't disagree with him by metzora, which the Gemara is going to explain. Or the Gemara is going to ask a kasha. But basically, what goes on with metzora, isn't it it's an interesting thing? I was wondering. There's no schechted metzora. Metzora, right? I mean, which Masechta? I know there's no Masechta metzora. That educated I am, but I'm saying, like, why is that? It's so complicated metzora. Every Masechta has got blot and blot about metzora, right? There's so many different types of metzoras, and
maybe because you went to Tzlamachana, you didn't have a chavrusa, so.
Maybe.
It could be from one of the starim that we lost. We lost 54 starim.
You think so?
Possible.
So maybe. I hear. But anyways, let's just
Gershon,
go over
you're
a
still
little
looking for them, huh, Gershon?
He's looking. It's not in Cleveland, clearly.
Not
Let's
even
see where he goes
close.
next.
I can't even deal with one of the starim. I need shishim.
Yeah. But anyways,
Imagine if you found them, what we would do.
not on this Zoom. You're gonna put him on a different Zoom, Barrett.
Forget about the mutes. The mute would be an understatement.
Yeah. Anyway, so basically what the metzora does, give or take, right? On the 8th day, he brings a korban, right? A bunch of korbanos. And he also has to bring shemen zayis. Yeah? And then they do, what do you call it? Tenufa with the korbanos and the shemen zayis. Then he shechs the asham, and then he puts it on the ear of the metzora, and his thumb. We're going to see on Amud Beis about this. They put on his right ear, right thumb, and his toe, his big toe. Right. Then he pours the oil into another kohen's hand, which we're also going to see on Amud Beis. I'm just doing his akdama, right? And then the first kohen dips his fingers into the oil and puts it on him 7 times. Yeah. Then he takes more oil and puts it back onto the metzora's right ear, right thumb, right toe. And then if there's leftover, then he has to pour it on his head, right? I don't know why they're not worried about the kohen getting tired from doing this whole process, right? not just Yom Kippur, but Kitzur Amaisa, there's a lot of opportunity for the oil to spill. That's the way I understand it, right? It's coming and going, two kohanim, toes and fingers, etc. Right? Whatever it is. So what Rebbe was saying is, Rebbe said over there, Rabbi Yaakov told him that the same machlokes by the blood spilling does not apply to the oil of metzora. What says Veloy, and it's not. Now this kasha, it goes for the next 6 lines. Vatanya Nosan mixes matanas shebefnim v'nishbach halug. If he did some of the matanas that had to go inside, right? Because I left out that part. The kohen gadol also has to sprinkle the oil towards the kodesh HaKadoshim. Yeah, so he does some of them. And then it spills. So Yavi lug acher, he has to bring another lug v'yasel b'tfila b'matana shebehegel. He has to start again from the beginning, right? The same way Rameir held that he has to start again from the beginning if the blood spills on Yom Kippur. So if the oil spills, he also has to. Rabbi Lazar of Shimon b'makom shepasak u'masra. He starts from where he left off. Exact same machlokes, right? Gomer matana shebehegel, and once he finished with putting the oil in the hechel v'nishbach halug, and the lug spilled, Yavi lug acher. He brings another look. Then he starts with putting the oil on the behinus, is the thumb and the big toe. Yeah, Nosan mixes matanas behinus. If he already put some of the oil onto the thumb and the big toe, and then the oil spilled, Yavi lug acher. He has to bring new oil. He has to do the same. He has to start again with putting it onto the thumb and the big toe. Rebbe Lazar of Shimon he starts from where he left off. Same machlokes. Once he finished all the matanas shebehinus, I said kahunas shebehinus, v'nishbach halug, everybody holds that the pouring of the head, the leftover oil that poured on the head, is not meakev. What? So you see from here that it's the exact same machlokes, right? Rameir, it's a stam mission. It doesn't say it's Rameir, but it's a Beis actually. But Rameir says that you have to start again. And Rabbi Lazar and Rabbi Shimon hold that each segment gets its own separate thing. And I'm sorry, no, that's not negated to them. Rabbi Lazar and Rabbi Shimon say that you don't do it again. You start where you left off. Same machlokes. So how could Rebbe say that they don't have the machlokes by metzora? So Gemara changes. Gemara answers, Ema li shana Rabbi Yaakov belugin. Take out the word chala, right? It just says, Rabbi Yaakov taught me the same machlokes by lugin. If you ever took out one word and it changes the pshat, this is it. The first pshat was that Rabbi Yaakov told Rebbe that they agree, right? It's different. Metzora's oil is different than Yom Kippur. And now the Gemara is changing and saying, no, take out the word chalak. And what it means is that that it's the exact same machlokes. Yeah? Fine. Okay, so Amar Mar, now we get into a little bit into the metzora. Amar Mar, matanas harosh ein ma'akas. Putting the blood on top of the head is not meakev. My time, what's the reason? Because if you say that it says in the leftover of the oil you put on his head, right? So since it's leftover, sounds like, okay, what's the big deal? If it spills, it's no big deal. If that's the case, right? If it says when you have leftover from the korban mincha, yeah. So there, what do? You burn it on the mizbeach. You can also say that it says the word extra, so therefore you say it's not meakev, right? But we know from the Gemara Menachos that it is meakev. Yeah, you can't, if you lose the extra flour, then you can't bring the whole korban. So there can't be the word nazir tells us that it's not important. So when I answer, it says it twice. Yeser, right? From the extra of the oil from the metzora, and it also says nazir. So Mamela, that's very clear that it's extra, and that's why we don't care about it. But every other time it says nazir, we are going to care about it. Fine. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Yeah. So Rabbi Yochanan says on Amud Beis, Asham metzora sheshachtu shalai l'shmai. Let's say you the metzora brings a korban asham, right? That he did something wrong, and you shechted shalai l'shmai. It was shechted, meaning he shechted it for an oila or a shlamim, even though it's supposed to be an asham. So he says, "Banon machlokes Ramei v'Relazar Reb Shimon." That's the same machlokes of Ramei and Relazar Reb Shimon, right? Again, Ramei holds that you have to start all over again if the blood spills, and Relazar Reb Shimon say you don't have to start again. You start where you go back where you left off. According to Rameir, it says you have to bring another korban and use the blood from scratch. So too here, you have to bring another animal and shechted again, because it was done shaloi lishma. Where they say wherever you left off the sprinkling when the blood spilled, there's no takana here, because what are you going to do? Right? Because you can't throw away the asham, right? Because then he's using two animals. If you bring another animal, according to the Rebbe Elazar Shimon, you're doing two animals. And we already said that you can't use two, right? So, I mean, even though that we said it by Yom Kippur, but it applies to metzora too. That it's got to be only according to them. It has to be one animal, not two. So you're stuck. Basically, according to them, you're stuck. Yeah. So it says oisai, right? Which means you can only bring one animal. So even Rameir has to say that you can't take a new animal, right? So then exactly what happens here? If that's the case, does that mean the metzora never has an eitz? He stays the metzora for the rest of his life? Could be. It could be that that's what it means, right? Ein loy takana, right? But we'll see a little bit more vital with that. So anyways, kasha. So the Gemara leaves off and says, no, it's a kasha. Rav Chista has a good kasha on Meir. Fine. So Tani Kavasei the Rabbi Yochanan. We have a brisa like Rabbi Yochanan. Yes, asham metzora shechted shaloi lishma. If you have a korban asham for a metzora and he shechted it shaloi lishma, ay shaloi nasa midami legabe b'hainis, or he didn't put the blood to go onto the thumbs. Hareze ayla legabe mizbeach. It works for the mizbeach, meaning it's a kosher korban. The time nesachim, and it needs the nesachim, the libations as we call it. It's tzarich asham achal achshira, but you need another korban asham. That's shitas Rameir. That's the way Rabbi Yochanan said Rameir would hold. Rav Chista Amar Lach. Rav Chista is going to tell you, my tzarich. What does tzarich mean? Tzarich. It needs another korban. Ve'ein loy takana, but he has no takana because you can't bring another korban. See, that's a real chiddush, which the Gemara is going to immediately ask on. Rav Chista is saying that when it says he needs to bring a new korban, it means he needs it, but he can't do it. So he's stuck. So Gemara says, "V'tani tana tzarich ve'ein lo takana." Is it possible for you to say, "Oh, you need to bring a new korban, but you have no takana"? So what do you mean you need to? Like leaving you hanging? They're saying, "Oh, you need to bring a new korban because it was schechted shaloi lishma," but you can't bring a new korban, so now you're stuck. So Gemara answers, yeah, you have that, and there's precedence because Vatanya, we have a brisa. Yeah, nazir mamurat. If you have a nazir who's bald, right now the din of a nazir is after his nazir is over, he has to shave all his hair. So let's say he's bald. So now what? So nazir mamurat, Shamai yomim tzarich havaras tar. You still need to put a razor over his head. That's the din. Whether he has hair there or not, and it does anything, doesn't make a difference. That's Beis Shamai. The still ain't tzarich havaras tar. You don't need it. The point is to get the hair off. If he's already doesn't have hair, then it's no problem, right?
Yeah, I have an
Yeah, what are you saying?
I have an Esther ben Yosef, Yosef ben Esther, who has that the thing that starts with an A. I forget what it's called.
Right, that doesn't have
any hair on his head. What's
yeah? So right, so if he would
Alopecia.
Yeah. So if he would become a nazir, so that's a machlokes Beis Shamai and Hillel, whether he should put on the what does it mean? Rav Avina says when Beis Shamai says he needs it, he means tzarich ve'ein lo takana. He needs it, but there's no takana because what's he supposed to do? He can't shave it because there's nothing there to shave. Right? So you see that there is precedence for a Tana saying that you need to do something, but you can't do it.
So he stays a nazir the rest of his life?
That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. Oh, I think. Let's just see a little bit weiter. Pligad Rapidas, and that disagrees with Rapidas. Damar Rapidas, Beis Shamai and Rebbe Elazar Amru Davar Echad. Beis Shamai and Rebbe Elazar say the same thing. Beis Shamai Hadamoran. Beis Shamai, like we said, Rebbe Elazar the Tanya ain't like bayan yad ubayan regal. So let's say he doesn't have a thumb or a toe, right? The big toe. Let's say Nebuch, the guy's missing his thumb and his toe, and he has tsaras. Ein loy tahara ilamis. That's it. He's done. He can never be tar because he doesn't have a right thumb and he doesn't have a right toe in order to
Gotta be careful what you say then, I guess.
I was about
you
to
better
say
be.
he should rip his tongue out.
You're right, and his ears too, right? Right, Rebbe Lazar, right, man. Nice al meakev v'yotzer. Rebbe Lazar, he says no. Put it there. Put it where the thumb is missing and where the big toe is missing, and then you'll be yotzer that way. Reb Shimon Omer im nasan al shel small yotzer. If you put on the left side, you yotzer. Yeah. So you see that there are opinions that say there's no takana forever, right? Now, Rabban, I thought you were going to say this. I don't understand why they can't put the bald nazir on a lay shaitel. That's what you're going to say.
Right, I was going to ask you after the share, my aunt.
I was going to say that also.
100% he could put it on because it's not a beged. They say
Yeah, right.
So it's not a beged isha.
No, but I was right. I thought I was saying another thing. That's real hair.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
All the litzanis. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was going to
bad
say
when we're all
that.
thinking
I
the
was
same
waiting
way.
till after the share. I wasn't going to say.
If we're all thinking the same way, that's bad. That's bad. But anyway, I'll tell you where this interesting comes up. Somebody who can't put tefillin on his left arm, let's say he's a righty. He has a cast going mamish the entire arm. Or never somebody's missing an arm. Do you put the tefillin on the other arm? No. The psak is you do not. If a guy can't put his tefillin on in his arm because he has a cast mamish from his shoulder all the way down, you do not put the tefillin on the other arm. It's meaningless. That's what the person. It's just meaningless. I meant to look it up today to see if they quote this Gemara or not. It'd be interesting if they do. It's a similar Machlokes. Meaning, is there any point?
So what does he do? Just put the rice on?
You just put on the rice, yeah. Just put on the rice.
You don't put it on over the cast?
That's a different story. Whether you put most of the time the cast doesn't go all the way up the arm, so you could put it up higher than the cast, and the straps can go on top of the cast. That's not a problem.
You mentioned if he doesn't have an arm also, then he doesn't put on the other arm?
Correct. Well, that's already maybe there.
No, but that's a strong arm. Yeah,
that's a strong arm. So then that's a strong arm. But yeah, so that's whatever it is. But that's similar. It's a practical of this machlokes.
My chalitza of Tziyakis, they wouldn't put it on. He can't do chalitza if he's missing that foot.
Taka, I don't know. Taka, I don't know. I think the Gemara definitely talks about that. That vague little bit of a memory I have. But not that I like to remember Yavamas, but I mean I like to remember it, but yeah. Okay, let's see a few more lines. Tana Rabbana. The lokach midam ha'asham.
Did you say we did Yavamas already?
No, we did not do Yavamas.
No, we didn't, Paris.
I attempted it. I once attempted it, Paris. I attempted
Paris,
it.
we missed that Siyam apparently.
No, Paris.
Yeah,
That's
I was going to say.
Paris,
It's a lot, no?
Paris, you should line up 60 bottles. Line up 60 bottles and put a tag on each one. What is the CM for? And you'll see which ones we used already.
I did the
Mishnayos for the
Mishnayos.
meat.
I did the Mishnayos with the Rav, and I still don't, whatever. I still have headaches from it.
Yeah, we did it together.
I said with the Rav. Yeah.
We did it together. Yeah, let me tell you, Paris, you're gonna have to put up a lot of meat before you vomit. A lot of meat. All right.
Well, maybe we can make some
Yaakov, by the way,
so often.
Jacob, you know that's not a threat. We can handle that.
I can handle that too. We gotta have something pulling me. Anyways, I'm really scared of you, Mom. Let me tell you, I'm very scared. Okay, so anyways, the Tana Rabbanan, the lokach midama osham. Yeah, you have to take from the dama osham. Yochol the kli. So you would think that you have to take it with the kli, because it says lokach. That's with the kli. So tamei v'nosan, he has to give. Right? Man nesina ba'atzmai shalkayin. Just like the nesina, when you put the blood, he takes his fingers. Right? This is talking about for the metzora. When he puts the blood on the metzora, he's taking it with his fingers. So then, af lakicha ba'atzmai shalkayin. So the lakicha, the blood also has to be mamish in the hands, not in a cup. Yochal af l'mizbeach. Okay, so if that's the case, you would think that for the mizbeach, when he has to throw the blood onto the mizbeach for the korban and metzora, he also has to do it with his hands. Tamei ki kachatas ha'asham hu says the chatas has to be like an asham. I'm sorry, the asham has to be like ki kachatas ha'asham. The asham has to be like the chatas. Ma chatas, just like the chatas to una kli, the chatas needs a kli. So af asham to an kli, so to the korban asham needs a kli. Nimtzas, bottom line is, we find out, you say asham metzora shnei kohanim mekabelos tamei. you're going to need 2 kohanim to do the kabbalas dam for the metzora. Echad biyad. One is going to have to do the blood that is going to be sprinkled onto the metzora. The kohen has to catch it in his bare hands. You can't catch it in your bare hand and also catch the other one with a kli. So you need 2 kohanim. One is going to catch it with his bare hands, and one's going to do it a kli. The one who was makabel the blood in the kli brings it to the mizbeach. And the kohen that's makabel the blood with his hands, he's the one that puts it onto the metzora. Yeah, just 4 more lines. Tanan Hasan, we learned in the Mishnah over there. Yeah, for kulan mitamin begadim. We can leave this for Matzah Shabbos. That's fine. That's that goes back to Yom Kippur. Okay.
What time?
What again? 5 to 10. Shabbos not much later than last week, right? 9:55. 9:55. Yeah.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Mazel Tov, Harold again, and all right. Shabbos, everybody.
Ray, if you can look up Google, you'll see what time it is by you when Matzah Shabbos.
Thank you. I'll call you next week.
Okay.
Good Shabbos.
It's
everybody.
Yaakov.
Shabbos.
Good job.
Yeah.
Can you forward me that share, please?
Which one?
Rabbi Yamin.
I thought I did.
Oh, you did?
I thought I did. If not, I'll do it again.
I don't know. Maybe I might have missed it.
Yeah. From the reports I'm getting, you didn't say much.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
No, I'm saying he didn't. He left it open. But at least he started off by saying. He said he started off the 5 minutes I heard so far is he's you'll listen and we'll compare notes.
You sent it to the Daf or to me?
I thought I sent it to you, but could be I was dry. So many texts, whatever.
No, I don't have it.
Okay, I'll hold on. You're on the phone right now. Hold on.
Yeah, thanks. Eric's made me the host.
Right.
Oh, Shkaya, thank you.
Harold, how's it going?
Baruch Hashem, how's everything?
Hashem, when was the baby born?
Mazel Tov. Mazel
2
Tov.
o'clock today.
Oh, so
Wow,
nice.
Mazel Tov.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Everything all right, Harold?
Baruch Hashem. Quick question. As far as my son-in-law, he's staying in the hospital. He's allowed to hang out as far as like carrying outside.
Which hospital?
How about Mount Sinai?
Oh, hospital people. Mount Sinai. Why does he wants to carry outside?
If he has to bring some stuff around, I don't know. Not much.
Don't ask me. I'm not a good person to ask about the Manhattan Eruv. I'm not a good person to ask about that. Where's he staying? In a Bikur Chaylim or is he staying in the hospital?
I don't know. The answer is in the hospital.
So why should he have to carry outside?
I don't know. That's
Listen, if he needs anything, first of all, I have the whole labor and delivery that I have it. That's with a write-up on what to do in the hospital and Shah. I'll send you a link now.
that's right.
But they can ask a guy whatever you need without hinting. Whatever your daughter needs, she's a chayla sheyesh basakana. So whatever she needs, you just ask a guy straight out, no hinting, no nothing.
All right.
All right. I'll send
right.
you the link. I'll send you the link right now. You can send it to them, and maybe they'll find it helpful. Maybe they won't.
Thank you very much, Rabbi. Good job.
All right. You should have a lot of nachas.
Thank you.
Tell him my phone is on till Shkia if he needs anything. Give him my number.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Mazel Tov and enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Rabbi Yaakov, have a Moed Shabbos.
All right. I hope this doesn't agitate. Maybe you can't listen to this shit from him. I'm thinking right before.
No. I listen. I'm definitely not going to be a machmer ever like Revival or Rabbi Yamin. But I love listening to that title. Revival is a whole different. Revival is unreal. It's mamash, the pashtus, the level of pashtus that he has. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, he's like that. He's similar to that. He's similar.
Your Binyamin is exactly the same thing. It's not normal.
Yeah.
Shlomo is something else.
Yeah.
Shlomo picked up the lumdus, not the pashtus.
I hear.
Yeah.
Really good.
He's good. I'm not saying lashon hara about him. Just they're very different people. Shlomo and Binyamin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Fine.
Have a great Shabbos. All
Shabbos.
too.
Bye.